Hello, thank you for joining us on the news. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Anna Olainka. Let's begin with the headlines. President Tinubu harps on strengthening development of agriculture for food security in the country. NATO leaders agree to hike defense spending at Hague summit, reaffirming ironclad commitment to protect each other. And Senate condemns killings in Benue and Plateau, just as House of Representatives constitutes ad hoc committee to investigate persistent bandit attacks. Bola Tinubu has enjoined the government and people of Nasarawa State to accord premium to the development of solid minerals and agriculture for the overall good of the country. The president made the appeal while speaking to the people of Nasarawa on a one-day official visit on the invitation of Governor Abdullahi Sule.
You will have no regrets. I could see hard work coming from NTAi Sule. Determined to use the resources available to him for the benefit, stability, and prosperity of Nasarawa State. Sule is doing well, because Bola Tinubu is doing well too. I could see the fertile lands. I could see the mechanization effort of the governor. I could see equipment rolling. I could see sacks and bags and the rapid growth and harvesting of rice and millet and many other things. Yes, we will work with you to ensure values are added to your mineral deposits. But don't, because you are a solid mineral state, forget your agriculture.
The president inaugurated projects executed by the governor. In other news, Nigeria is currently witnessing a silent but resolute transformation under the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this during the Nigeria-Brazil Business Forum tagged Roots to Revenue, the #1 Nigeria-Brazil corridor, on day 3 of the dialogue in Abuja. Let's get details from State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila.
The renewed strategic alliance with Brazil is grounded in intent and rich in the potential for mutual growth.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you?
This is coming just as Nigeria and Brazil revised their strategic alliance to advance economic development in key sectors. Vice President Kashim Shettima acknowledged Brazil's journey, especially the strides in agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and industrial development, relating such strides to the ongoing transformational projects in Nigeria.
We are encouraged by Brazil's interest in skill development and human capital. This aligns perfectly with one of our most pressing national goals. Africa, and indeed Nigeria, is a useful country with an average age of 17. And we must ensure that our young people are prepared for the demands of tomorrow. We welcome the opportunity for institutional partnerships that promote training, research, and exchange of knowledge in sectors where Brazil has built strength and in areas where Nigeria is gaining ground. What gives weight to this dialogue is that it is grounded in clarity. Both our governments understand what is at stake. We know that the reforms underway in Nigeria will require patience, but we are confident that they are the right steps.
Brazilian Vice President reaffirms commitment to strengthening bilateral relations with Nigeria through long-term cooperation, shared innovation, and mutual economic growth.
Under the leadership of President Lula, Brazil is committed to building bridges with its historic partners and opening new avenues of cooperation. With Nigeria, we have a unique opportunity to build a strategic South-South Atlantic axis, which is not only commercial, but also productive, technological, and human.
The meeting also discussed the Green Imperative Initiative, a $1.1 billion program to transfer Brazilian agricultural technology to Nigeria as a model of transformative South-South cooperation. Members of the Brazilian business delegation expressed optimism about Nigeria's investment landscape and long-term investment possibilities. In Abuja, Abraham Jibrila, NTAi News.
The integration of technology at all levels is crucial for the much-needed transformation and innovation in the public service. Speakers, led by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, emphasized this during the opening plenary of the maiden edition of the International Civil Service Conference themed Rejuvenate, Innovate and Accelerate. Haman Jabani reports.
The conference emerged from a shared understanding that across the world, and particularly in Africa, the civil servant stand at a critical crossroad, and the systems inherited were designed for a different era, now called to confront 21st century realities: rapid urbanization, digital disruption, climate shocks, global pandemic, increasingly complex citizen expectation, and a powerful generational demand for equity, inclusion, and climate justice. Hence, the need to rejuvenate, innovate, and accelerate. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Esther Walsh-Jack, says the conference provides a rare opportunity to exchange ideas, build bridges across borders, and explore shared challenges with a unified commitment to public sector excellence and to spotlight transformational practices that deliver results.
We must rejuvenate to renew the spirit, skills, and structure of the civil service. This means attracting young talent, building leadership pipelines, empowering women and marginalized groups, and rekindling public trust through values-based service.
In today's rapidly changing world, the civil servant must transform into a dynamic platform for creative, agile, and resilient governance. This conference calls on participants to rethink leadership not as a routine function, but a forward-looking force where innovation is not a mere add-on, but a critical strategic imperative.
If we challenge our civil servants, if we trust them to deliver, I'm sure they will rise to the challenge. And the politicians need to know that. They need to know that civil servants have the experience, they have the training, they have the education, they have the breadth of knowledge to be able to drive this country forward.
Nigeria is ready. We just need to accept that and embrace the renewed hope digital transformation that is ongoing now. And you can see the federal the head of service saying that every ministry and agencies of government must be fully digitalized before December.
The conference is a declaration that business as usual is no longer acceptable, and it's a signal that all are ready to rejuvenate, to innovate, and to accelerate. Hamad Jabani, NTAi News.
Senate has condemned the recent massacre of innocent lives in Yelwata community of Benue State. The lawmakers also expressed deep sadness on the killing of travelers on their way to a wedding in Mangun Plateau State. Senate commended the prompt response of the president of the Benue incident, in particular the establishment of ranches to bring to an end the farmers-herders clashes. It also called for compensation to families of victims of the Mangu killing, as a minute silence was observed in honor of victims of both unfortunate events. Meanwhile, Senate has passed the 1.48 trillion naira 2025 Rivers State budget as recommended by the Senate Ad Hoc Committee oversighting emergency rule in the state. Senate also approved presidential appointees in the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, Rivers State Civil Service Commission, Rivers State Local Government Service Commission, and Rivers State Primary Healthcare Management Board. Though some lawmakers before the confirmation argued against the appointment of Michael Ode, who is from Cross River State, as chairman of the Rivers State Electoral Commission. Senate clarified that the appointment does not contravene any section of the Nigerian Constitution. The House of Representatives has constituted an ad hoc committee to investigate persistent bandit attacks on communities in Benue State, with a view to proffering lasting solutions. Now, this decision followed a motion of urgent public importance expressing concerns about the recent armed attacks on Yelwata community, which led to loss of lives and livelihoods. Lawmakers urged the Nigerian Army to establish a forward operation base in Yelwata, a border community, to boost security presence and help prevent future attacks in the area and across Benue State.
The House urges the federal government and security agencies to intensify efforts to restore peace and security in Guma local government area and to protect vulnerable communities from further attacks.
Mr. Speaker, this issue has also taken international dimension. As you know, it was mentioned by the Pope himself when these killings took place in Yelwata, where about 200 people have been killed. My constituency of Kwando Shongo has also experienced these killings unending for the past 15 years now, Mr. Speaker. So I want to suggest that an ad hoc committee be set up to look at the insecurity in Benue State and return back to the House with recommendations on how the House can propose to end this insecurity in Benue State and, of course, across the larger north-central region of Nigeria.
In a related development, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, confirms the arrest of 26 suspects linked to the brutal attack on Yelwata community in Benue State. In a media briefing, the IGP says tactical units and special forces were deployed to track down the perpetrators. 2 masterminds have been arrested, leading to the apprehension of 24 others. Among those arrested are individuals directly involved in the killings, including a suspect who hosted planning meetings. Weapons recovered from them include 2 general-purpose machine guns and 8 AK-47 rifles. The IGP also highlights the arrest of suspects in connection with similar violent incidents in Plateau State.
Legal proceedings have been finalized and they will be arraigned in court without delay. We will go after anyone, planner or executor, who attacks any community in Nigeria. We will leave no stone unturned until every single individual responsible for the killing of innocent Nigerians is arrested and brought to justice.
He commends the synergy among security agencies and the unwavering support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which facilitates the swift breakthroughs. The Armed Forces of Nigeria, we hear, is to integrate emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, unmanned systems, cyber operations, space defense capabilities, and electronic warfare into its training doctrines to deal decisively with contemporary security threats. Minister of Defense Mohammed Badaru Abubakar stated this at the Maiden Defense Training Conference 2025. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
In a forward-thinking move to sharpen the operational readiness of Nigeria's armed forces, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, spearheaded the Defense Training Conference 2025 with the theme, Performance-Oriented Training and Trends in Contemporary Operating Environment.
The federal government through the Ministry of Defense remain committed to supporting the armed forces. At the same time, we must never lose sight of the human element of our training ecosystem. The gallant men and women who wear the uniforms deserve the best we can offer, not just in terms of equipment, but in skills, knowledge, leadership training, and psychological resilience.
This stress necessitated a fundamental shift in how we approach training, ensuring our personnel are not just prepared for yesterday's battle, but are agile and adaptive enough to thrive in tomorrow's dynamic environment. This is precisely where performance-oriented training becomes imperative. It moves beyond mere theoretical knowledge and focuses on developing tangible skills and competencies that directly translate to operational effectiveness.
Panel discussions explored how Nigeria's defense institutions can develop training models that stimulate real-time decision-making, rapid deployment under pressure, and joint interagency coordination. Olajide Bello, NTAi News.
Thank you for staying tuned. At least 10 casualties have been recorded in Colombia's landslide near the city of Medellin, just as over 80,000 people flee severe flooding in southwest China. Let's hear from Chukwunonso Nwabueze.
The landslide triggered by heavy rains also injured several others near the Colombian city of Medellin. Government officials said locals were warned to evacuate the area in the municipality of Bello, which remained vulnerable to landslides. The governor of the NTAi department, Andres Julian Rendo, said while confirming the casualties. At least 15 people are still missing after the tragedy, which was caused by flooding in a ravine, according to media reports. Images shared by local media showed houses buried under earth on a mountain bordering Colombia's second biggest city. Antioquia, which is situated in the western Colombia, is often affected by landslides during the rainy season. At least 5 people were killed in a landslide in another Medellin suburb, Sabaneta, last month. In a related development, flooding in China's southwest has driven more than 80,000 people from their homes, state media said on Wednesday, as a collapsed bridge forced the dramatic rescue of a truck driver left dangling on the edge. China is enduring a summer of extreme weather, with heat waves scorching wide portions of the country, while rainstorms affect other regions. Tens of thousands of people were evacuated last week in the central Chinese province of Hunan due to heavy rain. Chinese authorities issued the year's first red alerts last week for mountain torrents in 6 regions, the most severe warning in the country's 4-tier system. Chukwunonso Nwabueze, NTAi News.
U.S. President Donald Trump at NATO's Hague summit this Wednesday joined leaders in reaffirming the ironclad commitment to protect each other after allies agreed to his demand to ramp up defense spending. The U.S. leader appeared keen to take the commendations as he secured a key foreign policy win by getting NATO's 32 countries to agree to meet his target of 5% of GDP on defense spending. Plus, China's Premier Li Kang warns of intensifying global trade tensions as the World Economic Forum gets underway in China. Once again, let's hear from Chukwunonso Nwabueze.
Entering the meeting, leaders lined up to declare the summit's spending hike as historic. It's a great victory for everybody, I think, and we will be equalized, President Donald Trump said regarding the new spending commitment.
This is a monument really to victory, but it's a monumental win for the United States because we were carrying much more than our fair share. It's quite unfair, actually. But this is a big win for Europe and for actually Western civilization.
The deal sees countries promise to dedicate 3.5% of their GDP to core military spending by 2035 and a further 1.5% to broader security-related areas such as infrastructure.
We estimate that we will reach at least 4.1% of GDP in 2027, keeping the British people safe and strengthening our leadership in NATO even further.
NATO allies say the increase is needed to counter a growing threat from Russia, but also to keep Trump engaged, with the U.S. leader long complaining that Europe spends too little on its own defense. NATO chief Mark Rutte insisted that Trump remained totally committed to the pledge, which was reaffirmed unequivocally in the summit's final statement.
For me, there is absolute clarity that the United States is totally committed to NATO. totally committed to Article 5. And yes, there is also an expectation, which will be fulfilled today, that the Canadians and the Europeans will speed up their spending, making sure that we not only are able to defend ourselves.
However, despite Rutte's insistence that Ukraine's bid for membership remains irreversible, NATO's statement avoided any mention of Kyiv's push to join after Trump ruled it out. In another development, Chinese Premier Li Qiang warned on Wednesday that global trade tensions were intensifying as he addressed the opening ceremony of the World Economic Forum. Li said the global economy was undergoing profound changes, adding that protectionist measures are significantly increasing and global economic and trade frictions are on the rise. Beijing's number 2 official also painted a bullish picture of the Chinese economy, the world's second largest, which has been faced by slowing growth and a halt in consumer spending. Li's speech at the summer Davos gathering sought to portray China as a staunch defender of rules-based international trading system that is now under attack by the Trump administration. Chukunon Sonwa-Bueze, NTAi News.
The United Nations Development Fund, in partnership with the International Trade Facilitators Association, is providing $100,000 to promote micro, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria. Musa Baba Ali reports that the initiative will also focus on promoting the export of Nigerian goods and products.
Statistics reveal that micro, small and medium enterprises play a crucial role in Nigeria's economy. Experts say they contribute approximately 48% of the country's gross domestic product GDP and represent around 96% of all businesses in Nigeria. Despite this contribution, the enterprises face challenges in meeting both local and international product standards. To address these issues, the International Trade Facilitators Association, in collaboration with UNDP, is empowering 470 nature-positive micro, small and medium enterprises across the nation.
We have 9 months to intervene, so we're going to do a lot of capacity building. We're going to do a lot of market access. So it's not just to tell people to produce something to a certain standard. It's not just to teach them the standards. It's not just to guide them and point them and say this is where to go. We're also going to handhold them. Of course, we're targeting 470 MSMEs or participants.
The initiative focuses on enhancing business skills, improving market access, and preparing these enterprises for global certification. The project aims to promote sustainable development, environmental conservation, and inclusivity.
Exposing them to development world, with the skills they have, the lack of capacity for many of them, they are not able to access the bigger funds. So we have actually upskilled, replicated, and also referenced them to other development partners, both government, private sector.
The project is funded by the Global Environmental Facility Small Grant Program with additional co-financing from cash and in-kind contributions from other sources. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTAi News.
President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on attaining 60. Governor Sanwo-Olu, the 6th democratically elected governor of Lagos State, began his political career under President Tinubu's mentorship. His public service includes his role as managing director of the Lagos State Property Development Corporation and as a 3-time commissioner in different establishments. President Tinubu commends the governor's steadfast commitment to Lagos State's growth and development, noting his alignment with the transformative master plan established during the president's tenure as governor. He wishes him continued good health and many more years of invaluable service to Lagos State and Nigeria. Similarly, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu joins family, associates and well-wishers to celebrate the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on his attainment of 60th years of a glorious life. In a congratulatory message, the First Lady applauds the governor's dedication to service, a quality which she notes has set him apart as an exemplary leader, while wishing the celebrant many more years of success on earth She prays that God blesses him with more wisdom, strength, and divine health to fulfill his God-ordained purpose. Also, President Bola Tinubu rejoices with his Chief of Staff, Olufemi Hakeem Gbajabiamila, on his birthday, which is today, June 25. Gbajabiamila, a lawyer, served as Speaker of the House of Representatives from 2019 to 2023. President Tinubu underscores Gbajabiamila's salutary contributions to Nigeria's democracy and the legislature, where he spent much of his political career. Gbajabiamila was first elected to the House of Representatives in 2003, representing the Surulere constituency of Lagos State, and served in the House for 6 consecutive terms, and was both minority and majority leader at different times. The President encouraged his Chief of Staff to continue supporting him in implementing the Renewed Hope agenda to create a better, more economically viable and more prosperous Nigeria. And just before we go, let's have a quick check on tomorrow's weather. And with that, we conclude the news. Thank you for your time. I'm Ruth Aguele, and my sign language interpreter is Anna Olainka. Bye.